Hi. Hi.
How are you? Everything okay?
I don't know how to excuse that because I hate it too. Recently, I've read for the first time a book that I said I will literally never read, but I don't know what happened. I know what happened, the vibes, okay? I'm not gonna excuse myself. I'm not gonna excuse myself, don't tell me what to do. I'm gonna read whatever I want. I don't know who I'm fighting. I'm sorry, but I'm like this. I'm not sorry. Anyway, I've read Twilight recently, the first book in the Twilight saga, which is called Twilight. And I don't know what happened with the Twilight books. I don't know. Something clicked and all I wanted was to just read the books, not even watch the movies. That didn't even quench my thirst. Get it? Thirst? Like vampire thirst? So today we are going to be reading the second book in the Twilight saga, New Moon. So in the last book, if you've watched the movies and you know the scene of the prom where she goes in with a cast and she's wearing like a blue dress and stuff. So we ended on that scene. Realize their troubles they realize their troubles, oh my god, romance and tis. Let's just dive right in and I'll see you in an update. Something weird is happening to me with this series. It happened with the first book and I don't know what I was expecting with the second book, but it's still happening. However, this time, so far at least, it's more understandable, more it's easy to explain. So far I've read the preface and the first chapter, which is called Party, and they leave off a little bit after the first one. There is maybe a month or two between them, I don't know. And I did want to read some of the preface for you because I loved it. So it starts off with a line from Romeo and Juliet, which is my ultimate favorite line from the entire play, which is these violent delights. These violent delights have violent ends and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. I felt like I was trapped in one of those terrifying nightmares. The ones where you have to run till your lungs burst, but you can't make your body move fast enough. My legs seemed to move slower and slower as I fought my way through the callous crowd. But the hands on the huge clock tower didn't slow. With relentless, uncaring force, they turned inexorably towards the end of everything. But this was no dream. And unlike the nightmare, I wasn't trying for my life. I was racing to save something infinitely more precious. My own life meant little to me today. I absolutely love the preface. I don't know if it's something that's going to, keep going, that's going to continue throughout the entire book. Again, just one chapter in, but I'm super excited about this because it feels more mature. The writing feels less equacious and more mature. I also like the descriptions with this one. With the first book, the descriptions were a little bit childish and a little bit naive and a little too much on the nose, like a little not thought of, you know what I mean? But with this one, the descriptions are more mature, more poetic, more good to read. I like starting the video like this. I'm so sorry about the light. I just finished chapter 3, which is called Stitches. Oh my god, that ending. What is this ending?
Then why do you choose to write like this?
As a writer, why would you do this? So, do you know, in the movies, there was a part where Edward leaves and I liked how it was portrayed in the movies and I kept guessing, wondering if it's going to be, how it's going to be done in the books. So it was the part where Edward chooses to leave Bella and, in the movies there was that whole segment with her like in the chair and the camera revolving around her, and then we have like the months changing and progressing and she's in the same desolate, hopeless position because out of extreme depression after Edward had left her. That part, I was wondering how it's going to be done and I still haven't gotten to that part yet. But the third chapter, Stitches, the way it ended, I was wondering at the end of the chapter, and the way it ended, it says, I really did feel exhausted. It had been a long day in so many ways, yet I felt no sense of relief at its end. Almost as if something worse was coming tomorrow. It was a silly premonition. What could be worse than today? Just the shock catching up with me, no doubt. I was halfway asleep, maybe more, when I realized what his kiss had reminded me of. Last spring, when he'd had to leave me to throw James off my trail. Edward had kissed me goodbye, not knowing when or if we would see each other ever again. This kiss had the same almost painful edge for some reason. I couldn't imagine. I shuddered into unconsciousness, as if I were already having a nightmare. And then the next chapter is called, you guessed it, the end. It's called the end. Maybe not be so obvious. I feel like there are other ways for a writer to not be so obvious, and it would have been so much better if it came out of nowhere, in my opinion. I don't understand the creative process here, and I don't understand anything, and I mainly don't understand myself currently because I am enjoying this. Help me. Remember how I told you that whenever I got compliments on my skin, which I'm very grateful for, but it's only this pretty because I've been on drugs for it for almost a decade and a half now, like almost 15 years. Whenever I decrease, whenever I stop, God forbid I stop, it's like, it's really bad. Like my skin is awful bad. It's a medical condition bad, not acne bad. Even though acne is really bad. Basically what happened is I cannot like visit the dermatologist anymore. Yeah, I called and asked for his help and blah blah blah, and he basically, he's gonna get so much better. The event, not me. I don't know what that was, I'm sorry. He just advised me to space out the medication until I can see him again, because I'm not supposed to stop yet. And I'm already having like stuff on my face. This is what I mean when I'm telling you it's not just a goddamn pimple. Why are you not focusing on my face? Am I not pretty today? Okay, thank you. Sorry, I panicked. But anyways, yeah. So I just want you to know that whenever you compliment someone on their skin, no matter how pretty it looks, they most likely have issues, and a lot of them. This is the beginning. If I do stop it though, it's gonna be like all over my body, which is pretty cute. But also very annoying, because they hurt. I wouldn't be annoyed by them. Sorry. I wouldn't be annoyed by them if they didn't hurt. It's the fact that they hurt. It's killing me. Anyways, back to the book. I'm not gonna lie. It started out real good. It started out really, really good. And I had a lot of high hopes. The high hopes didn't last. Remember that part in the books where, in the movies, I'm sorry, it hurts to put on my glasses. Love that for me. Remember that part in the movies where where Edward goes away and he takes her to the forest to talk to her and to tell her like basically that I'm going away and I don't want you and blah 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 blah, like as an attempt to protect her. That part, I always thought that it was exaggerated in the movies because there's some sort of lore that we didn't get in the movies that is in the books. What I mean is, because Edward is a mythical beast, I've always thought that he used, I don't know, some of his powers, like he already has, he can't read her mind, but he can, like he said, dazzle her, like he has that charm ability thing because she is his prey. Technically speaking, like biologically speaking, he is a predator, and that's how they lure the prey, right? So I thought there was some sort of magic never mentioned because it was just a lore in the books. And I got excited about that part, and we got to that part, and there is no lore, there is no magic. She is just a dramatic bitch. I hate her. I cannot believe she blacked out, forgotten who her parents are, forgotten her name, blacked out in the middle of the forest. For what? Because a man broke up with her. Like, the reaction is insane, and I am flabbergasted by it. That whole scene, the end of the scene, is very trite. It's very trite. Like, it is the end of something. Please just make it special. Like, there are so many opportunities to make that part special, but what do? They make it fucking stupid. Some of the quotes, man, are super well done, are very like much beautifully written. So, and I annotated a bunch actually. Jesus, I'm so far away from you. Wow. I annotated a bunch, and I know that I will revisit them. I know that I will want to reread those quotes. But if you don't think about the context, if you think about the context of the quotes, then they will be ruined. I hoped that I was fainting, but to my disappointment, I didn't lose consciousness. The waves of pain that had only leaped at me before now reared high, up and washed over my head, pulling me under. I did not resurface. I also really loved how they did the movie adaptation from the books. It is exactly the same. So we have the chapters exactly like we have them in the movies. October, November. Shows that she's literally not living. She's just, time is just passing around her. I love how that was done here. Sometimes the quotes are relatable. Like, it does that thing where a book is talking about a specific thing, but I personally, you can find relatability in it in other contexts, which is difficult to do, and it does that beautifully, effortlessly even, succinctly even. This part aggravated me. That's literally the only word that works. I saw no reason for fear. I couldn't imagine anything in the world that there was left to be afraid of. Not physically, at least. One of the few advantages of losing everything. I hate her. What do you mean losing everything? You went through a breakup, bitch. You went through a breakup. You didn't lose everything. You went through a breakup. A breakup of a man that you spent 6 months with. What do you mean? It's coming from someone with PPD. This is a serious part of the way that I'm gonna talk about with you. So with PPD comes borderline obsession, which is why I stay away from relationships. TMI, but whatever. And I decide and choose to, remain single because I know that I'm not a good person in relationships. I know that they don't work for me, and I quite honestly think that it's not fair. It's not a fair thing to do to my partners, and so I choose to remain single because of that reason. So coming from someone like this that has a personality disorder, that borderline obsession, that borderline possession, Jesus, not like that. I mean, if I were to die and I were to become a ghost, I would possess people for fun, or not. Like, if I had the choice to just die, I would just die because I'm tired. Anyways, my eyes hurt. I'm sorry, I'm delirious. But yeah, coming from someone that has a personality disorder that is obsessive, at some point that we develop something called a favorite person, and it is literally insane. Taking a step back when I'm not in that state of mind and thinking about how I am and how I act and things that I think and stuff like that, it is insane, and it's tiring, and it would lead a person to hurt themselves and stuff like that. It is insane. Coming from someone like this, and I still hate this part. I hate it so much. Even in the beginning, when death unquestionably would have been a relief. Girl, no. What do you mean death would have been a relief? Because they didn't want you? You sound so fucking stupid. Sometimes Bella in Twilight in the first book sounded so cool, she had hobbies, she didn't just depend on him. But then sometimes they would make her so goddamn pathetic, and this is the pathetic part, and I hate her so, I hate this part so much. What do you mean after losing everything, I welcome death? Losing everything being someone breaking up with you. Are you fucking kidding me? You have your dad, you have your mom, you're healthy, very healthy, you have a home, you have food, you have so many, you have drinkable water. Bitch, be grateful, maybe. I mean, that reads so annoying and tedious. A few pages after that complete farce, we have her saying, "It was a crippling thing, this sensation that a huge hole had been punched through my chest and exiting my most vital organs and leaving ragged, unhealed gashes around the edges that continued to throb and bleed despite the passage of time. Rationally, I knew my lungs, oh God. Rationally, I knew my lungs must be intact. Yet I gasped for air and my head spun like my efforts yielded me nothing. My heart must have been beating too, but I couldn't hear the sound of my pulse in my ears. My hands felt blue with cold. I curled inward, hugging my ribs to hold myself together. I scrambled for my numbness, my denial, but it evaded me. And yet I found I could survive. I was alert. I felt the pain, the ache and loss that radiated out from my chest, sending racking waves of hurt through my limbs and head. But it was manageable. I could live through it. I didn't feel like the pain had weakened over time, rather that I'd grown stronger enough to bear it. I really like that part. It felt like sort of a healing moment, a kind of severance to a better her, and I don't very much like having that moment straight after her saying I've lost everything, blah blah blah. But from a BPD point of view, it very much feels like our black and white thinking. But that feels very much relatable. I just hate her from a healthier point of view. If she's not supposed to have like a personality disorder, then she is fucking pathetic and I hate her. In the movies, if you've only watched the movies where, you know, they hang out in his garage and work on motorcycles, it's that part, but it's very much prolonged. It's not a fun, not collage, montage. It's not a fun montage. It's very much superfluous. I quite liked it. She's fun. She's fun again. My note literally said, she's fun again. It's almost as if Edward is the actual personification of depression. It's almost as if Edward was taking her from everything that is fun. When she was hanging around with Edward, I'm taking this way too deeply than it should have been taken, but I don't care. Like when she's hanging out with Edward, she barely talks to her father. She doesn't talk with Jacob. She like leaves behind all of her friends, like the other human normal friends, like Jessica and Angela and Mike and all those bitches. She leaves them totally behind and stuff, and it's as if Edward is depression, you know? And it's unsettling. I don't really like Edward. I don't like him as a boyfriend. I don't like him as a dude. I don't like him in this plot. I just don't like him as a character. Whenever someone was within his gravitational pull, Jacob warmed them. It was natural, a part of who he was. No wonder I was so eager to see him. Almost like a dog, right? Wink, wink. Anyways, it leaves nothing to the imagination. It gives you everything on the table. All of the cards are on the table. This is a werewolf, this is a vampire, and this is a very, very, very pathetic and annoying main character that almost always needs help. And this is a love triangle, but it's so obvious who we're going to end up with. Ta-da, that's the book. Also, I still get the side characters confused. We went again with them, like she went ahead and talked to them again, and I still got them all confused. Like I can't tell who's who and who's supposed to be with who and who's coupling who and who's fucking who and mating who and doing who and eating out who and whatever the heck. It's like there's a lot happening, but we're so bound to Bella and Edward that like you miss everything. Like I said in Twilight, Alice is so interesting. She's so far my favorite character. She's incredibly interesting. Her life story is amazing. We figured out that she was in a mental asylum and she was mentally disturbed. That's why she couldn't remember. But in passing, like they gave that a page, while we gave Bella being completely desolate over a dude breaking up with her like 6 fucking months. You know, like a lot of interesting things happened around them, but we're stuck with Bella. Their reactions when she went back talking to her friends, their reactions to her talking back to them, and her reaction to herself, like she said a few times that, like, why are they acting like this? We were just talking before, we were just friends, is a great, in my opinion, showcase of what depression can do. I liked how that was done, because you often, if you're struggling with mental health, you don't really realize how others see you, like, and you don't realize how unstable you look, how unstable you are, how far down the rabbit hole, 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 how far down the rabbit hole you have gotten. So I like that little detail there. So around this part, I've taken a break. It got better, and then I've taken a break from reading. And then I went back and I immediately wanted to stop again. I'd already lived through the worst thing possible. In comparison with that, why should anything frighten me now? I should be able to look death in the face and laugh. I think she said this while they were going to ride the motorcycles. I think like she found a Harley and she got it for free and she was fixing it with Jacob and they were going to ride it. It's like quite possibly a death sentence, especially to someone as clumsy as Bella and all that. And she's like, I don't care. I went through the worst thing possible. The worst thing possible being a dude breaking up with her. Like, I went back to reading and I immediately wanted to stop again after I read that sentence. Blood was drying in thick streaks across my cheek and neck. She fell in, like on the motorcycle and cut her head. Matting in my muddy hair. I examined myself clinically, pretending the blood was paint so I wouldn't upset my stomach. In the first book, Twilight, she literally fainted, like completely fainted, became disoriented, lost her consciousness because of a drop of blood. I'm not exaggerating. They took one little prick, one little pinprick, one little drop, so they would look at it under a thing. I forgot the name, not a telescope, a microscope, under a microscope. She fainted, she lost consciousness, and Edward had like to lift her and take her to the nurse's office and blah, blah, blah. And now you're telling me you have chunks of blood matted into your hair after falling on a Harley and cut, like she needed stitches afterward and all that, and she's fine. There was nothing left in my life at this point that was more important than Jacob Black, but he seemed determined to ruin everything. Like, oh my God, I hate her. I hate her so much. Like, I hate her so much. You literally didn't give two fucks about this dude 2 months ago, and now your boyfriend broke up with you, and then you said the worst thing in the world has happened to you and there's no point in living, and blah, 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 blah. Saying there's nothing that matters in my life anymore. Forgetting Charlie and Renee and everyone else, and then saying the same thing about Jacob. I really fucking hate Bella. You shouldn't waste it on me, I said, though I wanted him to, especially if he was willing to accept me the way I was, damaged good as is. Well, like, what happened? There is no trauma. She grew up privileged as shit, and then her parents got divorced. I'm sorry, that doesn't, where's the merit? What about merit? What about merit? Am I insane? That doesn't merit this fucking reaction. And then the dude broke up with her. I hated this part, and then it made me want to stop reading again. And I did. Yes, everyone deals with trauma their own way and stuff like that, but might I just add, divorced parents who love her dearly and are both around, showing their love continuously and consecutively. No one has left her, even though they have separated. No one has left her, and they care about her, they are worried about her, they love her deeply and dearly, and they show that love. I don't understand the fucking reaction. I don't know why I'm taking this so personally, but I hate Bella so much. Finally, I reached a chapter that did not make me want to jump off a window and cut open my own eyes, so I won't be able to read anymore. Colt. I reached Colt, and I really, really liked Colt. It caught my attention. It was fun. It was easy to read. It was entertaining. It was enthralling. It was exciting, even though I know exactly what was happening. It surrounds Sam and Jacob and him turning into the animal within or whatever, and yeah, I liked it, and I was enthralled until I finished that chapter. This whole thing is it's a mess, really. I'm nothing but a human after all, nothing special, I explained, shrugging weakly. Something like growl, not a real growl, just a human approximation, rumbled in Jacob's chest under my ear. If that idiot bloodsucker is honestly stupid enough, please, I moaned. Please, I moaned. Please don't. Bro, I just sat down to read you. Why is she so pathetic? Why is she so, like, everything she does is preceded with, I talked weakly, I mumbled, oh my God, I moaned, please don't do that. Why is she so fucking pathetic? That's what it's, like, that's what's, like, killing me. Why is she pathetic, like, so pathetic? I want to slap her. So, since last time I saw you, we've met the wolves. We have transfigured, we have transformed. Edward is a complete wolf, Jacob is a complete wolf, and we've met his friends, we've met the pack, and I loved them. That whole part of us meeting the pack and like getting to know them and stuff like that, I love that part. They're fun, they're exciting, I don't know, they're just enthralling, and I really, really like them. Sam's fiance Emily is like scratched all the way, like in her face, and she's like super pretty. Like, she's very, very pretty. Like, you won't even like care, you know, she's like that pretty, and she's described like that. But then the way Bella like talks about other people, dude, it's so fucking annoying to me. Like, for example, it was so cool. Jacob tells her, like, you're gonna meet Emily, don't stare, because it bugs Sam, because like he's the one that done that to her, and like he feels so guilty and blah, 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 but she loves him, he loves her, and blah, blah. And she looked at her and she realized why she was told not to stare. And then she was like, she's still beautiful. Well, I mean, obviously not as beautiful as she was before. Like, I can see that, which is okay, I suppose, I guess, if you must, I guess. And then she started saying like Emily would say something, and Bella, because it's from Bella's POV, and Bella would just say stuff like, she spoke from her ruined mouth. She just spoke. Like, you don't have to say stuff like that. Like, it fucking annoys me, and I don't know if I'm the only one, if I'm just like like an aggressive person. Like, I'm short-tempered, I know that, but like, I don't know if it's just me. Like, if I get annoyed at random shit and this is just a me problem, or if it's an actual like thing that other people hated with this fucking character. Emily, she would just like do stuff. She was just like literally frying eggs for the boys, like for the werewolf, for the pack. Yeah, she was frying eggs. And Bella is like, she turned and showed us her once beautiful face, now ruined, turned into this ugly fucking monster. Like, boy. Is when Alice came back, she had a conversation with Charlie, and we got to see Bella's little like depression era through his POV, and I really, really liked that. I found his explanation, or his little, talk with Alice, helps tremendously in the betterment of Bella's prior POVs. I had something to hope for if we did. If Alice made good on her promise, and if she didn't kill me, then Edward could run after his distractions all he wanted, and I could follow. I wouldn't let him be distracted anyways, maybe. When I was beautiful and strong, he wouldn't want distractions. My note just said, just die at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Try not to trip, she added. We don't have time for a concussion today. I groaned. That would be just like me. Ruin everything. Destroy the world in a moment of clumsiness. Ma'am. Alice at this point was literally just trying to be lighthearted, because as we have established before, Bella is quite fucking literally disabled. Nothing wrong with that if the character was actually disabled, but she's not. She's not. She's just like mentally ill, mentally slow, clumsy. It's not normal to be this clumsy. Trust me, I'm a clumsy person. I'm telling you from experience. I know it's not normal to be like, it's not fucking normal the way it was described, especially in the first book. It was such a nuisance to read about her tripping and falling and having a bajillion fucking accident throughout 24 hours. It's impossible the way she, like, how clumsy she is. She said it herself in the first. Oh my god, I'm talking so much about the same point. I'm sorry. Lord, I wasn't going to make it. That's it. I wasn't going to make it because I'm fucking slow. I'm a human, okay? I'm a human, and I know you want to be a vampire so fucking bad, but you're not. You're not, and it's annoying me. I'm stupid and slow and a human, and we're all going to die because of it. As a whole, I like the play of Romeo and Juliet. We do have a play of Romeo and Juliet. The essence of it, I guess, the one thought the other died, so they themselves like tried to take their own life, and the other didn't die. That whole spiel, we had it here, and I liked the play off of it. It's ridiculous, but just think about it. There's this mythical creature, yeah, made specifically to prey on humans, only humans. Yes, they can feed off of animals and hunt animals, but they are made to prey on humans. They're in their top tier ultimate health when they prey on humans, yeah? And Bella is his own siren, this mythical creature, Edward, and Bella is his own siren. When they went to the Volturi, one of them, Arrow, I think, had called her La tua incantate, which means your own song, or, the song that was created, your song, whatever. And that was such a pivotal moment for me, because I realized how amazing this plot could have been. Arrow had a gift of seeing everything when he would touch you. Oh god, imagine when he's like, never mind, don't imagine, but like, he would see everything that you've ever thought of, everything you've ever felt, and all that. And he saw what Bella is to Edward. When I remember when I read the first book, I thought that it's not just he liked her, she liked him, and they're interested in each other or whatever. She's literally like her mate. They have reactions when they meet, when they touch, when they kiss, extreme reactions whenever they're near each other. So it's like his mate. And it was more explained in New Moon, in the second book, as her being, or her blood basically sings for him. Like, it attracts him, it calls for him, that's what I mean. Her blood is specifically made for him, and that is such like a vital moment for me. And when Volturi called her La tua incantate, calling her his own song, it was like, he said like a siren. It's as if her blood calls for him, as if a siren would call to a sailor. But this mythical creature resists, and not only resists, but falls for her. I mean, if you look at the plot like that, you have such an interesting plot, but man, was it badly executed. I guess Billy hates me now too. It's not fair. And then Edward says, it's not you, Bella. Nobody hates you. It really is you though. Like, I would not recommend neither the first nor this one. They suck ass. They suck like major turtle ass.